Hi everyone, this is Kelly and I have a treat to look at with you today. So let's how am I gonna work my way into this? So this is actually a deck that is in my favorite. So I have a cubicle of all of my favorite decks that I have, and this is one of them. I have enjoyed this deck. It's beautiful, it's clean, like it's got a lot of white space, and then it's animal based, which is really important to me, but it has sort of a pip-like feel to it, right? Because 10 of Cups, well, we've got the crystals here, but there's not really people here, so it's got a very clean, pip-like deck, but then it's got this beautiful splashes of color and animals, which is of course always a bonus, right? Always a bonus for me. It's just gorgeous, right? So I adore this deck because for all those reasons that I just said. And this deck has been around for a while. I have a walkthrough of this deck already somewhere, but I'll link it below. I have a walkthrough of this deck. I can't tell you that whether or not this is available still or not, but I do love this. And so this was the first deck from Jillian, and it's from Jillian C. Wild is the name of the artist. This is the first deck, and I love this deck. Then she put out this deck, and don't ask me dates because I'm terrible with dates, but this is really cool because this is called the Antiquities of Magic Oracle, and this is really cool. I was just going to say, did I edge this or did she? I can't remember. This one is really cool because, again, the same, you can see it's similar style artwork, but this is much more of a fortune-telling style deck. In fact, I keep this in my sort of fortune-telling style deck deck case that I keep decks in, right? Because that's what it is. It's playing card size. I love the backs on it. It has your little title on it at the bottom of it, and then the beautiful images. So it's just gorgeous. I love the lantern. Again, it's just a really nice sort of symbol based, such as things that come out of tea leaf and coffee leaf readings, such as Lenormand and those types of decks that are symbols, right? I wouldn't say the same as Kipper or Sibylla, which are much more scenic oriented. This is definitely a symbol based deck and reads as such and is beautiful and all of that. So I was super excited when this came out because, again, we don't have a lot of that style of decks out and about. So that was the second deck that she had. So again, I'm a big fan. Always have been a fan, and so when she contacted me that she had this big project coming out, and would I take a look at it, yes, right, that was a no-brainer for me. I already had and used other decks of hers, and so yeah, that was a no-brainer. So this is actually a set. I mean, look at this. This is called the Familiar's Way Self-Development Set. Again, by Jillian C. Wild, and we have independently created by Jillian C. Wild, shadow work and secure relationship coach and practitioner. And you can find all of her things at www.jilliancwild.com is what you have there. So this is a set of 3. We've seen some boxed sets come out where you get sets that are kind of coming together with an overarching theme. And this one is similar but very interesting in a way because of this last one. You have a tarot deck and an oracle deck that are artistically, visually, beautifully conjoined together, which we'll obviously take a look at. And then you have a very different feel and style of a shadow workers deck to, again, use in conjunction for self-development, but this is working with shadow aspects very specifically and has a workbook to do so. So all together with the tarot, the oracle, and the shadow work deck slash workbook, it's meant to be an overarching tool for self-development, which makes sense. So it came obviously in this box that holds all 3 of the decks. Okay, I will just slowly pull it out. Okay, so we're going to set this aside and we're going to come back to it in a minute, because again, it works all together as a self-development tool, but I'm going to start here on these because they make sense. We understand what's happening here, and so we can see where that part of the self-development is, and then add in this. So that's kind of the order I'm going to kind of do things in. So the decks that we have that are kind of tools, the first parts of this tools that go together, excuse me, is the Familiar's Way Tarot and the Familiar's Way Oracle. And so this says a deck of sacred companionship, and this says reconnecting to the wild. So I'm sure there's some smart way or specific way I should probably be doing these, but I'm actually going to look at this first because you know me, I have all the animal decks. I know I do not have all the animal decks, but I have a lot of animal decks because I do work a lot with animal guardians, and I'm actually really excited about both of these because I do an animal spirit reading check-in where I use a tarot deck and an animal oracle deck, and I do enjoy having decks that go together. I currently use a lot the Guardians of the Night Tarot cut down with the Crow Tarot, or that combination. I like to find, I don't have a lot that I do that with, that I can use that with, and this one I think is going to be perfect for that. So that part really excited me about it. But we're going to look at this first because A, I love oracles, and B, I love animal oracles even more. So inside the box it says connection deepens when we feel seen, heard, and supported. In this space, safety and love grows. Now let me just state here that this is a test copy. I'm sure there's a different name for that. I do have some notes that she graciously gave me. An unedited artist proof sample. There we go. I wanted to make sure I put that, and I've had this before and from other people as well. There are generally some issues that have to be tweaked. There are things that have to be changed. There are edits that have to be made. This is the artist proof. So everything isn't actually finished here. The guidebooks are empty, although I have some sample pages, and so this is an artist proof copy of that, and so we will just make sure that we note that. The point of these are for color and positioning. So for example, here is the guidebook, the Familiar's Way Oracle Companion Book, but it is obviously blank because it was just testing the color. Look at how gorgeous that is. Like, that is stunning. So yeah, it's just testing the color, make sure everything is showing up. I did it with my deck recently, right, where you just want to make sure, is this everything coming out where it's supposed to come out? And so this will obviously be an deck. And then I have some or guidebook. I have an example of one of the cards so that I can read it to you so that you can hear what it says. So then we have the cards here. Now this is, and I was excited about this, this is an 80 card oracle deck. Okay, pause for the animal in the house to have something to say. You can see that the box is sort of like that matte, or just like a satin kind of matte, but then look at the gloss of the cards. I do actually really love that there, but it's an 80 card, and this is my thing, like, again, you know me. Let's move some things here. Let's just work our way one at a time and not have them all in the way. I love and use a couple animal decks that are just like my jam, and I use them all the time. But one of my biggest things about animal decks is that very often we are not, we're not getting enough cards. And so I really love an animal deck that has a good amount of cards, and 80 cards is a good amount of cards. Like, that makes me so happy. I do also really love, it's like a rose gold, I would say, is what I would call that, or like a rose gold edging. I'm, not always a huge fan of edging because I'm a riffle shuffler, but these do feel like they're going to riffle nice. And I don't worry about, again, do what I say, not what I do. You really shouldn't riffle shuffle when you have foil edging like this. I riffle shuffle all my decks, whether they have foil or not, and I actually don't mind the way that a good foil edge will wear in. Yes, it will look like it's been used, but I don't mind the way that that looks, but it's absolutely beautiful. I don't know if you can see that rose golding there, but it's really gorgeous. So there, and here's the backs, which I also really love. Have an abstract. You can see that kind of on the backing of the deck, the box, and the guidebook. But that's really beautiful. So this, I love the size. Like, this to me is like perfect in terms of an animal oracle deck. I also like, again, this is personal preference. Everybody's got their own preference about this. I actually do like not having guide words or keywords on the cards, because there are animals that I work with very specifically in how I work with them. It doesn't mean it's way off from what other people do, but it's not the same. And sometimes somebody else's idea of what bat energy is, or my big one is hummingbird energy, or even sometimes dolphin energy. Some of the ones that just always seem to get the same keywords, and they're not always exactly how I tap into them. I understand that some people really love the keywords there, so you don't have to really think too much about but animals are so much easier, right? Think about the bat itself. Think about what that means. Somebody that's navigating things very well, using their senses other than sight to be able to find their way and navigate their way forward, right? So you can it allows you to just stop and think about, what do you know about the animal itself? Because that's really where you should start with how to work with animal energy, and then you might go to the guidebook and see, okay, well, what keywords do they talk about? Or get yourself a book like from Stephen Farmer of animal, I'm looking at one right on my shelf here, animal spirit guides, and add that information in, right? But I always like to start with, what do we know about the animal? Then I like to go into what is the folklore around the animal, and then I might look at somebody's keywords that might be for there, just to see what they're doing. So I actually really love that there's no keywords on the on it. So I'm just gonna see which animal is the one I have a copy of, so that I know when I hit it to come and read it. Humpback whale. Okay, so once we get to the humpback whale, I will show you what we have for a guidebook entry. So this is a big plus for me. It's not going to be a plus for everybody, but it's a plus for me. So here we have bat. Okay, sorry. My own animal energy is strong in the house today. Anyways, I wanted to, I do love this style of her art style. It is definitely, I'm assuming I would call this digitally painting. Like, this is like a digital painting that takes place, and I would say crisper. This has got a softer quality, and this is, again, quite an older deck, so a different style that's pulled in here, but really beautiful. Like, I would definitely use these decks together, although I don't need to, obviously, because there's a tarot deck that goes with it. It just makes me think of it because I've used the other one so much. So it's quite beautiful. I love this bear. Bear's important to me. Let's make sure, we'll see all my animals are here. Here we have buffalo. I actually really love buffalo. Buffalo is not one of my animal guardians, but buffalo shows up a lot in decks that have buffalo. It always is showing up in really strong ways. So I love that. Bumblebee. So let's see, can we make any, that's kind of like that. I'm gonna just make some piles here just for the sheer joy of it. Of course, I do think having bee, hard worker, community, also that sort of the way in which they, ants too. I like having ants as well in decks, but just the way in which they organize and work and protect the queen. And there's so many different aspects to bees that work really well in working with animal energy that I know we see them a lot in animal decks, but that's for a reason. Here we have a butterfly. This cardstock, I can't wait to shuffle it because it seems flexible. It's matte, definitely a beautiful matte, but it has a nice flexibility to this, that with this being 80 cards, I think this is actually going to, in still being smaller, I think this is going to shuffle really nice. I'm at least excited about it. Here we have the butterfly. So you can see that there is a similar to the backing, that kind of, I think it's called bokeh. In photography, it would be called bokeh, where you have kind of like, this is exaggerated obviously in more of a paint style, but there's that kind of wash behind it of that in different ways and in different colors that are obviously going to make sense for the card that it's in. But that's beautiful and magical looking with the butterfly. Here we have camel. Camel again is another good one that I like to see, just because of the endurance factor. Here we have cat. Everybody loves to have that for that independent spirit. Caterpillar I actually like. Okay, so that's interesting. I wonder if we'll get the third transition. Probably not, but I actually quite like that because caterpillar energy is very different than, and yet they spend time in that. They're walking around, eating, doing things, unlike the pupa stage where they're just hanging there. You see caterpillars all over the place, and they're working, but they are ingesting, right? They are just this continual eating factory, storing up the energy that they need in order to then transform. So I could see that really showing up powerfully in a reading. I'm not sure if I have an animal deck with caterpillar. I actually really love that. That's a bonus there. Here we have chameleon. Again, that's a great one to have in readings. There's the crow, and I love that. So far, so good. Bear and crow looking gorgeous. I love the deer. It's so sweet. I like that it's actually used, kind of looks like a baby deer, right? Because there is that sense of vulnerability and grace with deer that is exaggerated in the fawns. So that's really quite beautiful. Here we have dog. So we have our dog for our dog lovers and our cat for our cat lovers. Quite beautiful. Gotta have dog. Again, I really like this dolphin. It's not like an exaggerated, playful energy. You can get that feel of it like swimming in the water at high speeds. That's quite lovely. It's a lot more of a natural looking. Again, dolphins do love to play. I'm not saying that they don't, but I feel like dolphins all tend to look similar. Cards look similar, and I quite like this one. It's like you're swimming, like you're in a boat or something, and it's swimming along right beside you, which I quite like the energy of that. It gives me tingles in my fingertips. So there we have that. Here we have donkey. Donkey's a good one too for, I know my first brain does go to stubbornness, but they're also extremely strong, stay the course. There's more things that you can do with that, and you don't often see donkeys, so I like having a donkey card. Beautiful dove card. I love the clouds here and that light that's on all the cards, just rimming it at the edge. That looks like the dawn of a new day. And look at how the light's glowing on the actual dove. That's really beautiful. Here we have dragonfly. I love a dragonfly. I like dragonflies for that juxtaposition between water and air energy. That's really quite beautiful. So I do like, some people like a dragonfly or a butterfly. I actually like having both. Here we have duck. Love it. Love it. Who doesn't love a duck? Eagle. Beautiful. You need that predatory bird. Elephant. I mean, I'm obsessed with elephants right now. I mean, I've always been. They're not. It's not what I would say a primary guardian at all, but I've always been loved elephants. I don't know what there's not to love about elephants. I love the scene in the newer Tarzan movie with oh, I can't remember his name. Eric. I don't think his real name is Eric. I think his name was Eric in True Blood. Anyways, Skarsgård, one of the Skarsgårds, plays Tarzan. I love the elephant scene in there. It's like what you would feel like, I feel like, when you were to meet elephant guardians. So I do love that. I love a firefly card. My deck has a firefly and a magician. I do love fireflies, and this is absolutely gorgeous. Here we have a general fish. So that's an interesting one. Like, we don't have a general bird because there are different birds here, but I guess I can see, like, it would be, I mean, you have dolphins, which are not fish necessarily, they're mammals. But I think that's actually kind of nice versus one specific fish. Like, I guess if you're not going to have perch and trout, and like, how would you differentiate those in terms of animal energy? You can, but that's like really going into the micro. So that actually makes sense. At least we have a general fish one. And so I think that that is helpful. You don't see that very often. Here we have flamingo, that beauty, and that there's always a flamboyance to them that I think is possibly manufactured. I will have to look. I haven't done any work really diving into flamingo, because all I think of is more of the you know, pink flamingos in the yard. I think of Florida and pink plastic flamingos in people's yards, which is not really fair to the animal of the flamingo. So I may need to make a commitment to diving into flamingo energy. Love a fox. Love a fox. Looks like he's very watchful. Looks like he's very much paying attention. Love him. Frog. I have to have a frog. Frog, again, are very, you know, you've got frogs, dragonflies, butterflies. They're all transformational, but they definitely have different energies, and this is between water and earth more. And for me, though, frog is really about A, healing energy, but B, mostly about the way in which they shed their tails, because they're getting rid of what they don't need so that that energy can go into, you know, what they do need. And that's kind of where I lean with frogs more. So very cool. Absolutely gorgeous giraffe. What can we ever say anything bad about a giraffe? I love that there's a goldfinch. I saw goldfinches up in the mountains. I see them a lot. I love that. Oh, look at the little girl. Again, like the fawn, you're definitely seeing the little gorillas more so than the big gorillas, but they're adorable and I guess more approachable. Although, you know, you think of like a silverback, you know, just the umph and the power of that, which definitely you're more seeing that vulnerability that's going to grow into that, knowing that that power is coming. But they're so sweet. Up here, grasshopper. I mean, who does not need a Jiminy Cricket grasshopper? Again, something that you feel bad for grasshoppers, because it's hard not to think of Jiminy Cricket, and there are other lore about grasshoppers being good luck and things like that. But it's kind of hard not to go to for me. It's kind of hard not to go to Jiminy Cricket, and I really do need to give them. Again, they are like eating machines, as well as we, especially you know when you get them starting to flock together. So. I probably should do some work on separating a little bit out Jiminy Cricket. Love the hawk. Again, we're having quite a lot of, I'm making piles here. We do have, you know, some good differences. We've got doves, ducks, eagles, predatory, hawk, predatory, flamingo, smaller bird, songbirdie type with the goldfinch there. Here we have hedgehog. Again, I love a hedgehog. That protection, that boundary, that carrying your protections with you. Beautiful heron. For me, heron's definitely a lot to do with balance. And there's a lot of grace in herons as well. But beautiful. Highland cow. I love that the long-haired. I'm obsessed right now with mini Highland cows. I follow somebody on TikTok who has mini Highland cows, and I'm obsessed with them at the moment. But there we have a Highland cow. Hippopotamus is my mom's favorite animal. Very wonderful to watch. I grew up with a zoo that had really quite a beautiful, I know it's not the place that they need to be in terms of, but the enclosure was really large and quite lovely, but they had a great viewing area so that you could see them underwater. And it's pretty amazing to watch hippos, and I've seen a lot of babies that way as well, because again, my mom loved hippopotamuses. So that's pretty cool, but they are very strong and actually quite aggressive as well. Here we have hippo, horse, beautiful horse. I mean, we need that running free of horse. And again, one of the reasons I like not having the keywords on, because for me, hummingbirds, I've spent so much time with hummingbirds recently, and I don't generally agree anymore with a lot of times the keywords that are on it, because they are so feisty and so sassy and so territorial and really so aggressive that it's a, yes, they are a joy and an absolute wonder, but I get so much different energy from hummingbirds now, having spent a lot of literally up close. Like, they get right in mine and Isabel's faces, you know, just like that far away. And so they are absolutely amazing. But definitely not what I, you know, generally see on cars. So here's our humpback. Okay, I have a sample card or guidebook for the humpback whale. And it says, Humpback Whale, express yourself. Humpback whale is a creature of the endless ocean of mystery and wonder. It swims unafraid into the depths of darkness where imagination waits to be revealed. It explores journeys that unfold over lengthy periods of time. The expression of its song ripples across the ocean. Explore this underwater world with Humpback. Call on Humpback Whale when you need assistance in expressing yourself and exploring your depth. Let it guide you towards discovering the words that really, truly resonate with your desires and aspirations. Trust in its ability to lead you through meaningful discussions that promote authentic connections. By aligning yourself with the energy of the humpback whale, you can tap into its profound depth and clarity of expression. You can learn to speak with intention and purpose, creating a ripple effect of positive interactions. The humpback whale is a majestic, mysterious creature of the endless ocean, embodying the qualities of curiosity, exploration, and depth. It is unafraid to venture into the unknown, swimming into the depths of darkness where imagination and wonder await. With its long and meandering journeys, the humpback whale represents the unfolding of time and the journey of life. Its expression of song ripples across the vast ocean, echoing with the power of its voice and the depth of its emotions. Let the humpback whale be your guide as you explore the depths of your own inner ocean. Embrace its energy of curiosity, exploration, and depth, and discover the mysteries and wonders that await. So that is a sample of the Familiar Ways Oracle Companion book for the humpback whale. I mean, I love humpback whale. I have a lot of amazing dream journeying work with humpbacks that give me goosebumps just thinking about them. Excuse me. So humpback whale, jellyfish, that's gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I love jellyfish because you get that kind of you can get entangled if you're not paying attention, the stinging quality of them, but also the beauty and the grace of them, and the depths, and sometimes the lighting and things like that, the iridescence that happens. So there's a lot to do with jellyfish. Ladybugs, love it, love it. Lemurs. Leopard, that's gorgeous. So we've got a big cat. I think that's our first of our big cats. We have of course our house cat, but that's our first of our big cats. Lion, they've got to have a lion there. He's gorgeous. I like the posture of just, you know, so powerful that you can just kind of be relaxed and watching and paying attention, because you have so much power and you're the top of the food chain. Here we have lizard in general. Llamas. Magpies, that's a great bird. Monkey, which is very different energy than gorilla. Moose, very powerful. Moth, I do love moths and butterflies, even though obviously there are very similar energies to them. I do think of moths more in the nighttime and in the shadows more, because it gives sort of a shadow of transformation aspect that is quite interesting to play with. And again, the traction to light to their detriment is also an interesting aspect to have come up in readings as well. Then we have mouse card, which is great. A narwhal, I love that. So we have a gorilla, sorry, we have a gorilla, a monkey, and a orangutan here. We have an orca whale, love it. An oryx, kind of an antelope, it seems like an antelope-y type. Ostrich are really great to have. Owls, of course, and again, I don't tend to, I mean, yes, wisdom is great, but I tend to go more of that really being aware of the surroundings, really being hyper focused in and using your senses in that more predatory way, and that insta swoop that you can get. Of course, you can get that with the other predator birds as well, but with owls, you have that predatory bird, but really making use of the nighttime surroundings, so you get that shift there in that predatory birds. Beautiful panda bear. A parakeet, love it. My son loved parakeets and adored them and had them, so that's sweet. Peacock, definitely a lot of birds, different. A penguin, love it, again, so different. I love pigs. I do default to Wilbur, although I have to kind of, but I do think Wilbur, you know, does, even though he was talking and he had Charlotte, he does embody in terms of his actions, the actions of an actual pig, and that sort of fattening up and, you know, coming into their own and things is there. Traditionally in fortune telling style decks, it would be good fortune and abundance, which makes sense. But taking the time to really probably dive more into actual pig energy versus those wouldn't be a bad idea for me, but I always default there. Love the polar bear. Love the porcupine. Shoot. Now, they don't just have the protection in terms of rolling up in a ball, and they, I mean, they can, but not, it's different than hedgehog, where they can actually use their spines as a weapon. Very powerful. Beautiful rabbit. You get that motion, sense of motion there. Ram, such strong energy to have. Red pandas, which are obviously very different energies than regular pandas. Rhinoceros. Seagull. Oh, I love that there's a seagull here. That's interesting. And I love a shark. I do usually always want to see either preferably a shark and like an alligator or crocodile, but at least one of those, because they do for me have similar energies. They are not the same, I know, but they do have similar energies, and I like to have at least one of those there. So I do love that there's the shark there. Sheep. Snake, Very important. Spider, we're missing the actual spider and only seeing the web. I'll have to check with her. That could be a printing thing. It could be that she's focusing in on the web and not on seeing the spider that's more camouflaged up in the center. I will find out and put a note back when I go to do the editing. I love to have a spider card. I love having webs on cards. So either way, somebody who I guess is afraid of spider might prefer it this way, but again, you'll already be seeing this whether there is test print issue there or not. Starfish. Oops, this goes actually down here. A sugar glider. I watch a lot of sugar gliders on TikTok. Beautiful swan. Tiger, we've got that. A big cat as well. We have the turtle, which is gorgeous. This is more like, this is a sea turtle, which is different than, let's say, like a tortoise or something. I love vultures. That's another one that I do like to see in animal decks, because that is such an amazing you need some scavenger energy there as well. Of course, all animals, even crows, can be scavengers for sure. But I do like a solid vulture one. I think that's very helpful to have. Oh, there's my wolf. Okay, we got the big three, and spider, which I work with a lot as well, and elephant, which is on my table, and whale, which I spent a year with. So all the ones that I have spent a good amount of time with are there. I do love the woodpecker here, and the zebra with kind of a rainbowy colors glowing off the side, but he's gorgeous. Absolutely beautiful. Definitely an abundance of birds. I love birds, so that is not a bad thing to me at all. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. And then with my, okay, let me zoom out. With my, personal trifecta that I always look for, we have the crow, so 20. And then we have a good chunk. We'll come back to that chunk in a minute. We have my bear and my wolf up there. Smaller in terms of water energy, although some of the birds would also go into the water energy. So I think that you have crossovers there, but straight oceany, we have this to me is a sea turtle, so I would lean that way, with the turtle, the starfish, the shark, the orca, narwhal, and humpback, jellyfish, dolphin, and then sort of a catch-all for various types of littler fish that you might have. So definitely a smaller amount if you're a real big water person. We've got your insects, I think a nice amount. Spider, moth, ladybug, grasshopper, firefly, dragonfly. I do really like the addition of the caterpillar, butterfly, and bumblebee. It's kind of similar to the water. And then you have a few reptiles here with snake, lizard in general, frog, and chameleon. And of course, there's all kinds of frogs. Like all of these have various different kinds that you could go into. So definitely just 4 on the reptiles, and then the majority on more land creatures, which are whatever's left here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38 of like more of the standard animals that you often encounter, right, in animal guardianship, which makes sense. I mean, I do think, as much as there are tons of different ocean creatures out there, like I would have loved to have seen like a seahorse, and because you do often see those decks, and I do love seahorses. So I do think there could be more water ones, but in the end, there are certain animals that do show up a lot in oracle decks that people work with, and I'm sure some of that went into what animals were picked. for that. Definitely lots of different types of bird energy. And again, some of these are connected with water, like you think about swans, even seagulls are, for me, connected with water. Interesting that I like having the penguin, which is that more Arctic. The ostrich, you know, is just a little more land bound, right? I do connect heron even with watery energy. As well as ducks, even though obvious because they do so much in the water. And bats aren't really birds, so that's obviously should go into the mammals. Flying creatures, yes, but these don't fly. So yeah, I mean, to me, I would kind of put these into watery energy, so that kind of and this more earthy energy, so that brings that balance there. But I like everything that's here for sure. So there we have that. So let's give it a shot. I've been really liking the way that it feels. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yes, that is actually gorgeous to shuffle. Oh my goodness. That's gorgeous. I love this because it's that beautiful matte. Nothing sticky about it. Again, I know not everybody riffle shuffles and doesn't care, but this is a small deck and there's 80 cards, and oftentimes if you have thick cardstock and it goes small like this, it's impossible to shuffle the way that I shuffle. So again, this is personal preference, but that is that gorgeous non-sticky smooth matte that shuffles gorgeously. This deck's gonna get a lot of use from me. That is for sure. Because again, I'm an animal person. I do a lot of animal readings. Generally, there something can either being pulled as one animal energy to work with throughout the course of the week or a situation, or if I've done a tarot reading for somebody who works with animals, I might pull an animal guide. Or, you know, again, a lot of times it is, oops, I might have, no. You know, then it would be like for the realm of, you know, fire, air, water, and earth, a guardian to help, and then I pull a tarot card, but I'll show you that once I have both of them. Once we go through the tarot deck as well, I'll show you how I generally work with a combination of tarot and animal oracle cards. These are gorgeous. Again, for me, this is perfection, simply because of the number. We have 80 cards, which is great. The cardstock is amazing. I do really like the lack of keywords. Again, I completely understand why some people want keywords. I don't mind it either way, but I love to have a deck that doesn't have it, so I can just do my own what's ever going to come up about them in the reading itself. So that's a plus for me. So yeah, this is gorgeous. I am sure that, you know, if you follow the Kickstarter, there will be more examples of the guidebook and things like that as the Kickstarter goes along. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. 100% thrilled about this as someone who actually buys all of the animal oracle decks. This is a great addition to what I have, and is going to quickly move up to my top. Familiar's Way Oracle. This is the oracle part.